there's another option. You could have two legs, but they would have to be really thick legs, like able to hold like a lot. It would need to be mostly legs. 50% of the body mass would have to be in the legs. Yeah, like human legs are great.
Legs.
I really love those legs because
I think the question is, I know we talked about Kaiju, but I think if we did, we grazed past over it and we didn't really talk about it.
I mean, we talked about Godzilla specifically, and a little bit of
other things. But in the event that a Godzilla-like being would wake up, what would you think that humanity's response would be?
Well, first of all, humanity would have to be like united in order for it to be a human, like a global response.
Then
so
let's put a
because I think depending
parameter here. Like as soon as Godzilla first shows up, we achieve world peace because we have something bigger than us to fight.
Okay,
and
so
everyone pulls in together to.
Okay, so you're telling me that Russia, the United States, Mexico, everyone is working together to fight against this thing. Okay.
Yes. That's essential anyway.
I mean, there's
unlimited resources.
Like my first idea was, you nuke him, kind of like what the plot of the first Godzilla movie was, or something like that. Like they nuked to try to kill. So except there's a problem. Yeah, there's a problem, which is Godzilla feeds off of radioactive.
Let's assume our hypothetical monster also does.
Okay.
Or at least that it doesn't actually phase him.
Yeah, so basically, nukes are useless and they're too destructive. There's other options. You could use tanks. You could use some kind of.
Yeah, but we're talking about something that is unimaginably large compared to the size of a tank. I mean, tanks next to humans, they're pretty big already. But
you could
this thing compared to a
that's
tank,
true. Tanks are not like.
He's as tall as a building.
That's true. I mean, depending on which version of you're talking about. But yeah, most versions.
We're talking about a hypothetical monster.
Okay, so a kaiju. Doesn't matter which.
Yes. Just a kaiju, yeah. Something that is
humans are ants next to this thing.
Yes, compared to this, exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe not ants, but like bees.
It would be. I mean, yeah, probably they would have to build something as big as a kaiju in order to fight the kaiju.
So giant robots.
I wouldn't say, again, tanks are a good idea because legs are overrated.
If a nuke doesn't do anything, what would a tank do?
Massive tank, the size of a kaiju.
Oh, the size of a kaiju. Scaled? Everything scaled to proportion?
Yes. That would be a hell of a tank. Like a tank the size of a building.
Oh my god.
That would work, right?
Maybe.
I know you want to say mechs.
Yeah, the topic here is obviously giant robots.
That's like okay. My opinion on mechs is ever since I was like a kid, and I build things with Legos. I loved building mechs with Legos. It was just kind of
building bionicles.
Yes, but not just bionicles. Just
I know. But with regular pieces.
Yes. But I also use bionicle pieces. Obviously, I think you can mix and match some of them. But the thing is, I've always loved mechs. Except I realized, as an adult, and now that I know, laws of physics and things like that, and I guess we're assuming that this is in our world, like with our laws of physics, right?
Well, yeah. But I don't know. Perhaps we get some technology that will allow us to bypass some laws of physics. I don't know. What's
Maybe.
your point?
You know the square cube law, which means
That
that the bigger.
the bigger something is, the slower it gets.
No, not just the slower it gets, the more
Oh, the volume thing.
the
Okay.
volume thing, which means there's
Yes.
a
Yes.
point
Yes.
where a robot that
Would
uses
collapse on
two.
itself.
Yeah, exactly, because it only has two legs.
Yeah.
So a functional mech would require at least four legs. So either a spider or a giant tank or something like that. It doesn't. I'm not saying it can have arms. I think arms are a possibility, but yeah, legs definitely not just two legs. Some other form of movement. But yes, mechs would work as long as they don't have two legs, because then you can't do very big.
That reminds me of one of the first iterations of mechas, which is the I don't know if you read War of the Worlds.
Oh yes, you mean the
Tripods.
tripods? Yeah, the tripods. I think tripods are still impractical, but they're better than two legs.
Very tentacly, right?
Oh yes. I actually really wanted, because I never. Again, this is one of those shameful things. I did not watch or read War of the Worlds. I think I watched. Uh,
The Tom Cruise movie.
no, the original one. Like there's an
That's
old
cool.
one,
Yeah, I know.
but I don't remember if I watched the entire thing, because I must have been like really young. Because I remember the tripods, but not like the modern ones. I remember the modern ones from seeing like trailers and parodies and other things, but I never actually watched this modern War of the Worlds movie. So post 2000. I don't know when was it actually released, the one with Tom
The
Cruise.
movie.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Let me check.
Was it like 2005, 2009? No, it must be like 2001 or something like that. Must be
Give me a
closer to 2000,
moment.
because that's I think I remember that as being kind of an old movie,
Da-da.
like either 90s or early 2000s, I think.
Okay, the one with Tom Cruise
Mm-hmm.
is from 2005.
Oh wow, my first guess was right.
Then you have another one, which is from 1953. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. That was the original one I was talking about. I don't think I watched that one. I can't remember if I
Old.
watched that one.
Old.
It's very old.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, maybe it's almost as old as the book though. When was the book written? It was like 19.
Oh, the book is from last century. I mean, 2 centuries ago, I should say. 1898.
Really?
Yes.
Damn, that's an old.
Yes, it's well, H.G. Wells is old.
H.G.
He and
Wells.
Jules are contemporary, so I think,
Damn,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
impressive. Like those guys were basically the ones
Oh,
that created.
H.G. Wells is much younger, but
Okay, yeah, but like H.G. Wells and Jules Verne are like the two writers that define science fiction as we know it, pretty much. I mean,
yeah, I guess I would say that.
there's not much else that
You
we
can,
innovated.
well, shameful advertising, but you can also include Lovecraft there.
But Lovecraft is not really. I mean, it's more horror than science fiction, I would say.
Well, but if you look at I don't want to discuss this right now, but just they're aliens, okay?
Okay, sure.
Gods being astronauts, for example.
Okay,
Um,
sure. We're going off topic. We're talking about mechs.
So your ideal mecha would not have two legs; it would have at least four.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we can do like imagine
Like,
I'm imagining right now a giant-sized Metagross.
yeah, basically that, but with like a cannon on top. I would imagine that,
Oh,
something
it
like
does
that.
have a cannon. No, it does not have a cannon. Sorry.
But yes, something like that.
Okay. Would it go? What would be its melee ability?
So, I would say it depends on what the enemy is. So, for example, if it's an enemy like Godzilla that has like a ranged weapon,
But it also is pretty good melee.
I would.
Don't forget.
Yeah.
Let's put okay. Let's put a robot in the MonsterVerse, I guess,
So
against like
which?
Godzilla, King Kong, Ghidorah, Rodan,
Okay. So
Mothra, like
which
the one
ones?
in the
Okay.
American,
So
the most recent one, I would say.
wait.
Let's
So
go.
you're building like a robot to fight all of them, or just one?
Well, yeah, an all-rounder.
Oh damn. That's gonna be hard. That's gonna be really hard to do. Numbers would help. So instead of just having one, even though that's kind of hard to, it's kind of like the same logic.
Unlimited resources. Don't forget about that.
Okay, it's kind of like the same logic as the uh, Japanese military in World War II, where they build like the really big. Oh god, what was the name of that ship? Basically, it was a ship so big that they were afraid to use the ship because they were afraid that it would sink and they would waste all that money on building it. So, oh god, Yamato?
maybe.
Yamato, maybe.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
The largest build ever, the largest ship ever built, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
It would be kind of that situation. I mean, sure, if you have unlimited resources, that's not a problem, I guess. Okay, let's say you build Yamato's.
I think it was actually it's I'm looking right now.
It's not Yamato.
And, yeah, Musashi. I know they're actually the same. Never mind. They were both the biggest ships.
Okay.
Heaviest and most powerfully armed battleships ever constructed.
Yeah. Basically, you'd have to create that, but like twice as big. I mean, depending on. It's not a ship. It's like a land thing. So
yeah.
I mean, depends. If you're fighting a swimming, like a. Depends. You would have to like build. I think, for example, if you're fighting against Ghidorah or Rodan, you would have to have like a flying one. Otherwise, you're clearly in disadvantage.
You also need to build then one for fighting underwater.
Yeah.
So you'd go. You only get, but in most of these adaptations where we see mechas, I don't think they ever actually go with that in mind, though.
What in mind?
I mean, yeah, with having like to battle, for example, other.
Oh, depending on which terrain. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I guess. I think they're, I mean, all built with some sort of backplane in case everything they need to, if they need to do so. I'm trying to think.
I'm always kind of
universe specific, but instead of one robot just pulling something out of its ass to defeat an enemy, that's fighting with well, home field advantage.
But isn't that kind of like anime logic? Just like
yeah, it is. But what I'm saying is, that's a nice approach.
So in this hypothetical situation, it's an anime, right?
Well,
is that what you mean?
That's where we get most of these representations of mecha nowadays, I think.
I mean, mecha is yeah, it's a Japanese concept, I think.
It didn't, if you want to.
But the name mecha is a Japanese concept. So
yes, but it's showed up. It has showed up before the Japanese started making manga about it.
But there are some mechas that are like really well designed. There are some that are just kind of like, I mean, the original ones. I'm not entirely sure which ones, because there's a lot of them. But there's some mechas that I really like where they have like, you know, the cockpit it looks kind of like a ship, but then it has these backwards. I don't know what it's called. Like these backward retractable legs, kind of like instead of bending forwards, they bend backwards. I'm not entirely sure which where these are from or what their name is.
I'm not really sure what you're talking about either.
Let me just hold on. Mecha. Let me just pull up one here. Because most mechas look human-like, and they have like human-like anatomy. But there's some that I really like that are not like this. Where are they? Damn it, I can't find them. Let's go for Lego then.
I mean, but you do have, for example, the Power Rangers and Voltron. They have individual mechas that themselves are not human, but they also have this capability of merging together and creating a humanoid figure.
Okay, this is kind of what I was talking about, but this is Lego. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, it's like backwards retractable. And I like that design.
Oh, the legs, not the, okay.
The
not
legs.
The cockpit. I was thinking about the cockpit.
There's another one here too. These
That's very Metal Gear-y.
But I think these are actually very, like, effective. They look effective.
Yeah.
They look like the most effective shape, I guess, for a mecha. If it's not too big. If it's too big, this is clearly impractical. There's another option. You could have 2 legs, but they would have to be really thick legs, like able to hold like a lot of mass. It would need to be mostly legs. Like the mech would have to have mostly like 50% of the body mass would have to be in the legs in order to sustain its weight. But then there's the problem of lifting. If it falls over, how do you lift it up? If you have 4 legs, it's a lot easier because it's harder to. It's very hard. I mean, unless the Godzilla or the yeah, it's kind of like that. That's what I was talking about. If the kaiju is able to grab onto the mech and like flip it over, like capsizing, kind of like, you know, like a car or something, that's going to be very hard to.
But nowadays we already have a robot. I don't remember the robot's name, but it's likely from Boston Dynamics because they're doing all these sorts of
that you
also maybe not.
Kick it off and you like
it's a little one that he can even jump over obstacles.
Yeah, you would need something
cool
like
thing
that.
Is he actually has those retractable backwards.
Yeah, the ones I was talking about, the kind of digigrade or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that totally reminded me of the Metal Gears, and how most of them, the most known ones anyway, have those backward legs.
I really love those legs because I mean, first of all, they look very animalistic, and there's probably a reason why animals that run really fast have those in their back legs, because it's probably really effective. Yeah, it's probably really effective to have that shape. Human legs are overrated.
We could. It's just that our feet are really short.
Yeah, like human legs are not great. I gotta be honest. Like humans are not perfect.
Not at all. That's why we were blessed with the brain, so we can.
No, I mean, the reason we are alive today is because of our brain. It's more like that. Otherwise, we would just be nothing. We'd just be dead. Like all other animals would be superior.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my opinion on the at least the anatomy of mechs and the design. But you wanted to talk about how they would be effective against battling kaiju.
Yeah.
And
would they be, for example,
how would that happen?
What kind of weapons would they have? For example, I think here the Metal Gear Rex, for example, I think that's a railgun, a mounted railgun.
Oh yeah.
But inside of that railgun, is that?
There's something
or is it a nuclear? Because Metal Gears are nuclear platforms essentially.
Okay, I don't really know.
Metal Gear lore, yeah, they are. They are mobile nuclear platforms essentially. They can launch nuclear missiles from their position, and that's why they're so feared.
Damn.
But I think that's a railgun mounted. Yes, it is a railgun that he has mounted there.
Damn. But yes, I could see one of these fighting against a kaiju. That would work pretty well.
But it launches nuclear warheads, though.
Yeah, that's not great. I mean, in terms of weapons, if you want to discuss weapons, I think wasn't there like a sound gun that they used in the movie or something like that, like in the
it was some mumbo jumbo about creating specific sound waves to mimic an alpha cry or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it chilled most of the monsters.
But that
but I
went
think it pissed off Ghidorah so
that
much because
back
he was
yeah
the alpha.
that backfired. So
Yeah.
that's not a good idea.
Yeah, that's assuming like all monsters would have like yeah, again, if it was in the monsterverse,
Mm-hmm.
we could put him there. But I do think it would be very very cool to, instead of fighting ranged battles, to be up and close with these beasts. For example, it would be very hard to go in melee against someone like Kong. But Godzilla, if you were to steer away from
Blast.
the his
Yeah.
breath weapon, you would be. I mean, you would have a good chance of winning a battle if you have something that could tear through his skin.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Godzilla is very strong, but that's mostly using his body weight. Like, I don't think his arms are that powerful.
Yeah, he has like reptilian arms.
He has like tiny like T-Rex arms almost.
Yeah.
Like it's just
It's comical.
yeah. Imagine like a mech but with really big arms.
Just
punches-
pushing, like keeping
No,
his head away, and
just punches him. Just punches him like a ura.
No, imagine a thing like the mecha's just holding Godzilla's head away, and Godzilla's trying to.
Oh yeah.
Let me at him.
Like imagine Godzilla like trying to prepare his breath, and the mech just goes ahead, grabs his jaw, closes his jaw, like that. Like shut up, man. Nope.
Vibe check.
Nope. Yeah, I think hands would be useful against
Yeah, long arms.
against Godzilla.
Yeah, because this it is in manga. It is the most common of of mechas.
I would say if you
giant
manage,
people.
yeah, if you manage to get, because I think it more effective than projectiles. Because the problem with projectiles is they have to be light enough to be like launched. Like the heavier they are, the less range they have. But the lighter they are, the harder it is to actually pierce an object. Unless you have like a sword, the blade, if you just manage to pierce the skin, well, that's it. So I would say swords would be very useful, or some kind of blade that you have like on the arm. I wouldn't say like Wolverine claws, but something like that, something that you could like run through, because it's more effective than a projectile against
a chainsaw sword. A chainsaw.
a chains. I'm not sure that would be useful.
Rip and tear until it, or some sort of. Imagine we had like.
I would say just a blade.
Like Gundams do, like energy swords.
But what's an energy sword? Like, do you mean like?
It's like, imagine like a giant lightsaber, I guess.
But how would that be created? I don't know.
I don't know. Unlimited resources.
Again, unlimited resources doesn't
don't
mean
spend-
like you can pull things out of anime.
Okay, then forget about the.
I would say blades that can pierce skin, that can pierce Godzilla's skin, if that's even possible.
Consider drills.
I know where you're going with this, but
yeah.
Drills could work, but you need time. You need to like be able to, unless they're like really fast. But still, that's kind of. I mean, if you have drills that can pierce like rock.
Yeah, they could totally pierce.
Maybe. I don't know.
Imagine we had something harder than that. We got a better. There's lots of things to make drills nowadays better than diamonds, I guess. But still,
adamantium.
Some sort. Yeah, some sort of. Imagine an adamantium drill. You know, lighter than. And stronger than titanium, I guess.
So basically, what would be the plan? You would just like run up to Godzilla and you would drill, like you would.
Well, you'd have to be very mobile, but you wouldn't just go up to Godzilla and drill him. You have to tire him out.
Yeah.
Get some slashes in with that sword of yours.
Yeah.
Or claws or whatever.
Blade.
And once you find an opening, you start drilling through his skin.
You start drilling.
And you pierce Godzilla through one of his hearts.
Oh yeah, because I forgot he has two.
Is or hearts or brains? I don't know. Whatever. Godzilla's anatomy is always changing. Um, yeah. So drill's a good idea, right? So
Maybe.
another point for anime.
Drills might. The problem is like the conservation of energy. Drills might actually require a lot of energy. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
chainsaws. Chainsaws and drills might not be the best option, but if in very specific situations, yeah, I guess.
Who would who out of the monsters? We don't have a lot of monsters anymore. Right? For example, if you were fighting Ebida the giant lobster, a drill would probably be nice.
I don't know. Like I don't know
Ebida is
almost
a
anything
giant
about
lobster. It's a
kaiju,
giant
so
lobster. Just
a giant
imagine a
lobster.
giant.
You're cutting off a lot.
Imagine a giant lobster.
I don't know if it's you or if it's me, because it's like it says connection is like weird. No, but I think I don't know.
My connection is.
Yeah, you're cutting off. Can you like push up the sensitivity or something like that?
But my connection is fine, as I said.
So it's not the connection. It must be the.
Uh, but everything was good up till now.
Or just speak like closer to the mic. I don't know.
I am close to them.
It's weird because it's like I don't know. It's just cutting off. Whatever.
Okay, as I was saying,
Mhm.
just imagine a giant lobster.
Yeah,
That's it.
that natural armor would be pretty good time to use a drill. Yeah.
Yeah, just get through the you flipper over and drill right through the body. For example, it's softer too. So yeah, maybe the giant lobster wasn't the best of opponent. For example, if the monster was Zill from the 98 gods,
Was what?
Zilla, the reptile from
Oh,
the American Godzilla.
I don't know.
It's just it's really not Godzilla. There is a movie where the real Godzilla goes around killing every other monster in the universe because some aliens are, I don't know, and they set loose Zilla against Godzilla.
Okay.
He swipes his tail. He finishes off with the breath, just wipes him out of the face of the earth. And one of the aliens says something like, "We can't call him Godzilla because they took the god out of it."
What?
Because he's just a giant reptile. Like, it's just a giant iguana.
Okay
That's
then.
it.
Okay.
So yeah, drills would be a good option, I would say.
Maybe.
Um, what would, okay, so we're taking lasers out of the equation. That
Depends.
eliminates a lot of things.
I mean, lasers, if you could point them to like if you could have like a really powerful laser that could melt the skin. No, but I think most kaiju are like fireproof, aren't they? Or like heat proof.
Not really.
I mean, Godzilla clearly is heat proof because he has like a thing or something. Like he has
Well,
like
that's now because he took Mothra's sacrifice or some shit, and it was all beefed up from the nuclear roids.
okay. But still,
At the end of King
if
of
he's
the Monsters.
nuclear, then I guess heat weapons and nuclear weapons are just
Yeah,
useless.
aren't very effective. Let's just say he has resistance against fire damage.
Yeah, exactly. Or immunity to fire damage.
No, I'm not really sure about immunity.
Resistance, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also it is a thermonuclear weapon.
I was thinking, against Ghidorah, mechs would be completely useless because Ghidorah is like electric
Gravity based.
and is gravity based. Like that is gonna mess up pretty much anything mechanical. I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, against Ghidorah, mechs would be not very effective.
But lightning as well, yeah, that was a good point. It would like EMP everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
You would need something
So
else.
there's no stopping Ghidorah.
I mean, as we saw in the movie, you could grab a kaiju and mind control it to fight Ghidorah, I guess. But only
Yeah.
Godzilla. Godzilla was the only one that was able to do that. So
No, Godzilla was not mind controlled.
yeah, I mean, but if you manage to like make a clone or something of Godzilla, that's probably a bad idea. That's probably a terrible
Because
idea.
that's what Mecha Godzilla technically is, but he's a robot.
Yeah, but we already said robots are not effective against lightning.
I mean, yeah, if we're not taking shenanigans into the equation,
If
and
we're
if
imagining
sticking
that,
to,
yeah.
yeah, if we're trying to make it as real as possible.
That's the thing. I
then
feel
we
like
go for
this argument is just like if we're not basing it on any specific like setting or universe, like if we're not basing it on science alone, it's kind of I don't know. It just it feels like we're
I
just.
did mention we could put him in the MonsterVerse, for example.
But I don't know if if the laws of science, what laws and what of science, like.
Well, everything is the same except the Kaiju shenanigans. Also, All of Earth is a thing.
Oh.
That's like the major differences.
But the square cube law, is that still a thing? Because
Well, yeah, but
are you sure
I don't know.
Godzilla could
Don't.
exist with that body shape? Maybe I don't know, something like that.
They're so powerful that they like break everything. They 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 clearly do not respect the laws of physics if that's what you want to.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like
From this.
if they don't, then
Just imagine like a world where you could do that kind of shit without having to
I personally
worry.
I personally prefer mechs against dinosaurs because dinosaurs at least they're like they existed and we know that they could walk around and do shit. I like that better because at least it's a smaller size, which means you can the square cube law doesn't really apply that much, so you can have mechs with two legs and it's fine at that size, at that scale. Kind of like imagine like a T-Rex or something like that. There was actually like a really, you know, the fighting fantasy books from there was one from Steve Jackson, which was Robo Control or something like that. Commando Robot,
No,
something
never
like
heard
that.
of it.
It's basically an RPG, like a single player RPG, like one of those text adventures or adventure books, where you play as a kind of an engineer, and you live in a world where there's dinosaurs and cities of people that build mechs. Basically, mechs are kind of like the vehicles of this world. So instead of having cars and anything else, everything's mechs. Everything's based on mechs. So you have mechs that are like snakes. You have mechs that are, you know, that fight dinosaurs. You have mechs that look like dinosaurs. You have mechs that go underground. You have mechs that go underwater. Mechs that fly. Mechs that look like flies. So yeah, basically it's all based on mechs, and I really like that logic, and that's actually I wanted to do like something based on that because it's I really like the idea of alternate vehicles.
Hmm.
Like if humanity instead of using the wheel or even using the wheel, but like if they realized okay we could use legs instead of wheels because it's more effective to walk to use in like very irregular terrain and stuff like that and climbing. Um, but you need, of course, better technology than we currently have for that.
Okay.
But yeah. At least it's more achievable than kaiju fighting.
Dinosaurs. Yeah.
Kaiju fighting mechs. I don't know. It's too the scale is too big for.
Okay, but you do know that we don't have to when we talk about mechas as well. It doesn't also it's not restrictive of giant robots, just robots in general, I guess.
I mean,
because you do have.
it has to be big enough for you to get inside, I think.
Yes, yes, yeah. But
It
it could be as skin tight, still be a mecha.
a what?
It could be skin tight, like very close to you, like a suit.
So wait, so Iron Man is using a mech suit?
Yeah, technically.
Wait, so what classify? Does it have to be human-like? Does it have to have like?
Human features? No.
Wait, then is a car technically a mech?
I mean, is I do know that you can consider, for example, no, yeah, I would consider Iron Man to be a mecha
So it's
because if I consider
any
if I were to consider
futuristic robot or any futuristic machine that people get inside of and that is terrestrial, or does it not need to be terrestrial?
does it no it doesn't restrict to terrestrial, no, because as we said, like Iron Man can fly.
Would a submarine be a mech? Oh, does it need to be just one person? Does it have to be one person? Like,
Because I mean, not exactly.
well,
Power Rangers again, and then forge into a single entity, which is a mecha, but it's piloted by the entire crew.
yeah, so that takes it out of the, yeah, okay.
I don't think ships, tanks, or planes have mechas.
I think it's basically any fictional, anything that's not a ship or a plane or a car or a tank or a submarine would be a mech, right? So anything that doesn't exist right now, or that doesn't look like anything that exists right now, that is
It's
big.
essentially it's essentially, yeah, appearing to be humanoid.
Okay, yeah. So it has two arms and two legs, I guess.
I don't think it needs to have two arms, but it could have something that resembles legs and something that resembles arms.
Ooh, something that resembles
For example,
a
the
living
Metal
thing.
Gear doesn't exactly have arms, but he does have legs.
What about something that resembles a living thing?
How
So
so?
something that resembles, for example, either a chicken or a human or a snake or a T-Rex.
Yeah,
Something that's modeled like an
humanoid
animal.
or a biomorphic.
Yeah, I think it's more like that. It's more, it looks like an animal, or it's designed from animal mechanics, basically. From like,
Yeah.
the anatomy is similar to the ones of an animal.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
I do
That's a
remember the
better.
Metal Gears, Metal Gear 5, they look like chickens.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a better. I think that's a better definition. Something that is more organic looking. That's the word, I think.
Oh, okay. So also the Wikipedia page here does not classify Iron Man's suit as being mecha because
Hmm.
it's usually they are a bit larger than the wearer, like for example Ironmongers.
Okay.
So yeah, they do not classify like the marks as a mecha, but
The marks.
yeah, like Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, whatever, but the usual ones that he uses.
Oh yeah.
But I'm willing to bet that they consider the Hulkbuster a mecha.
Oh yeah, because he's like in a cockpit that's like the central part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I would
Also,
consider that a mecha too.
orbital suits from Zone of the Enders are mechas, and they are, well, they're big, but they're not that big.
Is Samus' suit a mecha?
No, if
Probably
by
not.
definition, if Iron Man's is not, Samus is also
Damn. So that like the point at which it does not count as a mecha is kind of
confusing.
arbitrary. It's weird.
It's definitely hazy. Yeah. Um, because I think what they mean to say is that even though the suit could be skin tight, you'd need to be like completely, like you need to be bigger Like your frame needs to be much bigger than your actual size.
Maybe it has something to do with the controls, the way it's controlled. Because Iron Man's suit is controlled by... No, wait, that doesn't make sense because
He has an AI and himself controlling it, so
it doesn't make sense because the Pacific Rim are controlled by the they are
by
mechs.
two people.
And not just that they're controlled by the two people, they're controlled by their actual physical movements. So
Yeah.
I was thinking like you would need some kind of buttons or like controls, like literally like levers or something, but no, I guess not. I guess it's not required. I don't know. Well, at least we know that it's a big...
Yeah, no, but that can be it again. Because thinking about Neon Genesis, for example, they are put in a capsule filled with a liquid that they can breathe and injected into, well, the spine of the mecha.
Wait, what?
And they're free, like they can move. They are in a chair though, but it's like they're mind linked to the mecha.
Okay, it's like
they can move a lot in there.
So it's similar to Pacific Rim then, right?
No, kinda,
No, because
but
Pacific
not
Rim
exactly.
Pacific Rim has a very weird and confusing way of controlling the mechs because they have to be like two people and they have like a...
Because yeah, Pacific Rim is a it's very inspired, and at least in that sense, in Neon Genesis. I really don't want to. But the person writing the mecha and the mecha itself also need to have a sort of connection.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's also pretty weird to explain.
That's a bit spiritual, I guess.
Yeah, the entire thing about Neon Genesis is that it is extremely spiritual and a personal experience as well. Well, because we were just talking about how cool it would be to build giant robots, and at the same time, we didn't stop to think about the damage these would do.
Oh yeah.
And if you think of it, I'm not only talking about material damage, talking about watching everything around you, everything you know, everyone you love, just being destroyed because, well, a monster just showed up and...
It's basically the same devastation as a nuclear blast, or worse.
Yeah, yeah, but it keeps on happening again and again and again and again. You know, it's something you get used to, but at the same time, it also destroys you.
But that's the thing. That's the thing about for some reason, and I don't know if this is coming from America or Japan or if it's just a thing that humans like. For some reason, nowadays, and this is kind of like a boomer thing to say, but massive destruction is so common, and it's kind of like a thing that's expected nowadays, in like a climactic battle or something. Like, people just love to see things get destroyed, like cities get destroyed. And I don't know why, because if a city in our real world were destroyed like that, that would be a catastrophe similar to Hiroshima, or even worse. So it's like, yeah, if you... I'm not sure if this is the point, but it might be the point of Neon Genesis. It's like, if you think about the implications that it has...
That is the point of even Neon Genesis, but at the same time, it goes much deeper than that. But to answer your question, it's because we need these to experience these things like vicariously, like the Tool song. You know, I need to watch things die, but I need to do so while I'm at a safe distance, like back here where nothing can touch me.
But it's kind of weird. Like, why do you want things to be destroyed? Like, is that some kind of catharsis?
Because if it would happen, yes, it's cathartic. That's the entire... But yeah, the point with Neon Genesis, it explores that, but at the same time, explores every facet of the mecha genre, from yes, the destruction it causes, from the origin of the monsters to the origin of the mecha.
You said it was a deconstruction of the mecha.
Yes. Yeah, of the mecha genre. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't exactly need to have a very firm grasp of mecha knowledge to watch it, because if you think about it for a while, yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. But it is much better to watch it after you have a little experience in other mecha animes, because that's when it hits you like, yeah, this shit is for real, you know. People get killed. These are kids piloting giant robots. We're sending them to their deaths, and we expect them to laugh it off at the end of the day. You know, that doesn't make much sense, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like,
and you know the how we always have this thing about humanizing the robot, even though the robot does not have a soul. We like to think of it as being at least a tiny bit human, because it looks like a human.
Yeah.
And Neon Genesis also explores that. Like, it goes so deep into so many issues. It's great. It is a great experience. It it's a great literary. It's not even literary animation piece. Yeah.
Animation
But
and literary, I guess. If it's
yeah,
based on,
it is a narrative anyway. So
it's based on manga, right?
mm-mm.
It's not.
It's only there's no manga for Neon Genesis now.
Really?
Yeah, it's original animation
That's surprising. I thought it was.
from
I thought it had a
the same dude who actually, uh, believe it or not, he's the same dude who directed Shin Godzilla.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Oh yeah, we did. Never mind.
Yuki. Yes.
Hideaki Anno. Yeah, there we go.
Wait, Keanu?
Anno. Hideaki Anno.
Oh, okay.
All of this to say, watch Neon Genesis.
Okay, just because I mentioned Neon Genesis like a week ago or something. Is that why?
What? No. This entire episode was to brainwash you into watching Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Because I said that I didn't watch it, or something like that. Because I mentioned it like.
A time ago.
I mentioned
but
it
no,
like.
This was just because I'd watched Power Rangers, the movie from 2017. And
Is that movie like any good? Because I've heard
how long is this episode right now?